Thanks for tuning into the ReMinders podcast. Going old school today and keeping it audio only. The majority of this episode will be a guided meditation. Felt inspired to do a updated version of the very first meditation that I put on this channel. Might have been the first video that I uploaded. It was called Grounding Root, and it was a extensive exercise guided visualization with the intention of grounding into the planet's energy. And today I'm going to do a somewhat abridged version of it. I want this to be a little bit more concise and something that we can use on more of a daily basis. So that first one, I'll link it up. To be honest, it's a little cringe for me to listen to these days. For whatever reason, I decided to pitch my voice down. I don't know. I guess I thought a deeper, less recognizable meditative voice would be more effective. I don't know. It was a bad move. But it was a cool meditation, and it's, like I said, it goes a little bit deeper. It's more of a visualization and opening up into receiving a message from the planet in service of security and energy type of thing. So yeah, I'll link that up if you want to go deeper into it. Get this on to be something that we can kind of just tap into on a daily basis, maybe work it into a morning routine or something to do by ourselves in like 5 minutes or something. Give a little brief check-in here. I know it's been a couple months since I've uploaded an episode, and I feel slightly embarrassed about that. Mostly just not even like publicly embarrassed, like anyone's thinking ill or was expecting episodes and is disappointed or anything like that. Just more like looking back and like, dang, it's been months, and what have I done, and why have I not had the energy? And really ties into why I'm feeling inspired to do this today, because I've been having conversations with various people about how I feel like I'm in need of more healthy grounding mechanisms and practices in my life. And it always comes back to meditation and yoga and breath work and, mindfulness and presence practices, and how I just have a resistance to doing those for some reason. So I'm working through that sort of, it feels like residue of like teenage angst, of just sort of resisting authority in a certain way, resisting rigidity and routine and doing things that I know I would benefit from, which is embarrassing to admit on the internet, but it's kind of the case. So here's to burning it out. Anyway, so point being that I feel like I've been ungrounded from my mission and in my life for various reasons, and I won't bore you with the detailed update on my life and things like that. Maybe we'll get into that in a conversation with other people when I get more guests on. There have been a couple really, really beautiful, inspiring events that I've gone to. Recently, I just got back from an event called Tending the Earth. So it was a bunch of people from the community and the network up in Oregonia at the One Earth Collaborative space, and we spent a couple days gardening and making music on stage, and had a full schedule of musicians and workshops, and it was just a super beautiful connective time. And we also had a Eclipse gathering out in Indiana at Sage Valley that I want to talk about on the podcast at some point, so maybe I'll get friends that went to either of those on the podcast soon and sort of process those events here. So, quick note before I go into the meditation. I just want to, not because I think that you don't know what grounding is, but because I definitely spent like a few years of hearing that word and having a question mark in my mind of like, what does that actually mean? So I thought it might be helpful for anyone that doesn't have a deep relationship with that word and with that practice, what I even mean by grounding. So in short, I would say that it's about connecting with the earth, connecting with our mission on the earth. We spend a lot of time on our phones, we spend a lot of time indoors doing jobs that are not necessarily physical, having a lot of conversations that don't necessarily lead to action. And all of this, I believe, leads to an ungrounded, more scatter-minded existence and orientation in our lives. I mean, anyone that knows me, anyone that's tuned into the podcast knows that I'm a very heady, intellectual type of dude, and I've been reflecting on how I can get attached to activities or substances or whatever else that put me in my body. And so, again, looking for ways of getting in my body and feeling grounded in a moment and in a purpose without doing things that are taxing to my psyche or to my body, like being on the internet, whatever else. And there's a very physical component to this too, literally having bare feet on the earth charges us with negative ions and other science words that I don't understand, I'm sure. But there's a very real component of natural human animal that we've that we've absolutely distanced ourselves with or from through wearing shoes and socks all the time when we go out, by having walls protecting us from the elements and from the earth almost all the time, right? So anyway, in modern society, there's a lot of things pulling our attention away from being rooted, grounded in our bodies on this planet, connected to ourselves in that way, to each other in that way, to the planet, to the cosmos in that way. So with all that said, let's go ahead and take a moment to come back to the self through the breath. You're free to listen to this casually while you do anything else and just let the energy wash over you. Let the sounds invite you into mindful breathing, regardless of whether or not you're sitting down or laying down. And fully going into this, although that certainly is where you're going to feel the most benefit. But if you don't have that time and space, I don't want you to feel like you got to turn this off. That said, feel free to come back to this at any point in the future now and retune in, reground. This is definitely not a one and done type of practice. So let's inhale and allow the breath to reach a little bit deeper than your last inhale. Just noticing the soft, gentle pleasure and fulfillment of breathing in this life-giving force, this vitality. Feel free to pause once you've filled your lungs, filled your belly, even if once you've started to draw the breath even further down into your being. Once you feel full, feel free to just pause there without drawing in any more. Just allowing yourself to be full and feeling that feeling before drifting into an exhale. encourage you to keep a soft, gentle smile on your lips and in your face and in your energy while you do this practice. There's nothing serious about this work, although it can be seriously fulfilling, seriously joyful. It's not something that we need to labor towards in a stressful manner. There's no rush, there's no right way. Or there's no wrong way, I should say. There's many right ways of doing this. And if you haven't already, I invite you to draw your breath even further down your spine. Allow your belly to rise. Bring that breath past your throat, through your heart space, into the lungs, past your solar plexus, your sacral, all the way into your root. And just enjoy that process of practicing, drawing this life force, energy all the way down into your being. Once that has become comfortable and second nature, to draw it all the way into your roots, allow yourself to feel this breath, this force of vitality extending all the way to your feet and to your hands, the extremities of your nervous system, which also act as primary bridges to the natural world, to the ground. Our feet and the soles of our feet being this bridge, this gateway of connecting the portals of our pores and our skin to the portal and being of the ground and earth below us. All the while, any thoughts, feelings that come up that are distracting us from this immediacy of the present moment, this physical, visceral moment, just allow them to dissipate in their own way. You can notice them without attaching and just bring your attention back into yourself. I invite you to feel that attention behind your eyes, behind your forehead, the third eye space. Just feel that consciousness and imagine it being encased in a sort of elevator. And as you breathe, allow that elevator to descend down into your throat. Notice there's somewhat of a temperature difference, maybe a color difference, slightly different atmosphere to have our consciousness operate from the vantage point of our throat rather than from our eyes or our mind. Breathing through that, allow it to descend even further into the heart space. Noticing the visceral difference of this space, feeling its lush warmth, its expansive, vast outreach you descend down into the solar plexus, the very bright, still very warm, but with a sharper feeling. Anyway, allow yourself to tune into how it feels for you. Descending further into the belly, below the navel, the sacral region, noticing the sensations and textures and feelings and colors of this space. And finally descending to the root chakra, the base of the spine, that which is holding us up and bridging us to the earth, where we carry our sense of security, our survival instincts, our sense of primal self and identity. Begin to visualize a red orb at the base of your spine. Just notice. Allow it to pulse. Imagine a red, ruby red, deep red orb, like an energetic balloon. Just allow that energy to fortify, to breathe, to energize. And eventually I invite you to harness some energy here and allow it to extend, almost shooting into the ground like a extension of your nervous system, a deep root, like a trunk of yourself if you were a tree rooting into the ground. If you're inside, visualize it going past the floor, past the foundation of the building you're in, into the soil, into the hard rock crust of the planet. And just feel strengthened by this connection, extending deeper into the earth until it comes to the core, the fiery center of this planet that has both birthed us and acts as our home, our beautiful little spaceship. And allow yourself to feel nourished by this two-way connection as our energy drips down into this cord and is also drawing in the life force energy of this planet to reestablish this connective bridge, this connective space between self and deeper self. Continue to breathe into this. Now I invite you to reascend your consciousness back into your heart space while still feeling deeply rooted into the lower aspects, the lower chambers of yourself. But it's here in this heart space that we can feel and fuel ourselves with the gratitude for this connection, for this moment, for this practice. Charging ourselves with this gratitude consciousness and the subconsciousness. And with that, I invite you to carry this into your day. You can feel free to take your time and melt deeper into this if that's where your energy is gravitating. And when it's time to get up and get back to your day, slowly and gently allow yourself to stand strong. And to be strong and fortified in your purpose for today, whatever that